gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right. Boom.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. So today is going to be a Mother's Day special. So to those of you out there who are lucky enough to be mothers, to those who are trying to be mothers, to those who are like mothers, this day is for you. Happy Mother's Day. So coming up to Mother's Day now, it's time to get my wife a gift for Mother's Day. So in the spirit of this channel and home improvement and self-sufficiency and hobby craft and homesteading and all that good stuff all wrapped into one, I decided that a good gift for my wife would be a nice planter box. So that's exactly what we're going to be building on this episode. This is going to be a one episode build. There's going to be no Acousti-Seal involved. There's going to be no vapor seal involved. There's going to be no insulation involved. But what's going to be involved is some nice high quality wood. I got some really beautiful cedar, and the smell of it is it's pretty intoxicating. It's such a nice smell coming off that cedar. So I went out today, picked up everything. I'm pretty sure my wife is totally in the dark that this is even going to happen. Hopefully it'll stay in the dark until tomorrow when I post the video and bring her out to the shed to show it to her. So basically this is a copy of Raised Beds that I saw on Justin Rhodes' channel, and I found that his design, or the design he used at least, was very superior to anything else, simpler, right? These things are close on 2 feet tall, which helps keep things, rodents and bugs and everything from getting into them, as well as a bit easier on the back to work around them. And they're 4 feet by 8 feet, which when you're using the square foot planting method, you can pack a whole lot of produce into one planter box. So I figured, we'll start with one and try to build up from there. But I figured this would be a nice project to complete and create a gift for my wife for tomorrow, for Mother's Day. So that's the idea. Hopefully, I can capture this fairly well. I'm not going to get into too many details on like the layout of it or anything, because you can go right over to Justin Rhodes' channel and see his build of it as well. So I'd appreciate if you stay around for my video, but please also go and check out his, and you'll see exactly what I'm copying off of. And it's just a superior plan. I think it's an excellent planter box, and I would make more of these in the future. Especially, like, you'll notice now as we go along, is that the wooden boards that hold the soil in are on the inside of the framing. So the framing's on the outside, which helps prevent rot, and also a nice encased support frame to avoid any bust outs from the side, we'll say. So yeah, I think that's enough of an intro. Like I say, Mother's Day is a very special day. I always think of my own mother, my sister, and my wife, and my wife's family, and all the mothers out there who are celebrating. And due to the current situation, probably aren't getting to celebrate the same as what they normally would. But hopefully they'll find a way to celebrate even better by having lots of family close and keeping each other safe and healthy at the same time. So I hope you're all doing well, and we're going to get on with the build. So in short, it's going to be an 8x4 planting bed and raised bed, 22 inches high. Plus a little bit, and we'll see that as we go on. I'm making a little modification to what I've seen, I think, on Justin's. But overall, should be a relatively quick build compared to what we're doing. Highly reproducible, and I think this is completable by any amateur handyman. That's my hope, because I'm an amateur handyman and I'm going to try and do it. Alright, so let's get to it, see what we can do, and let's have fun making those Mother's Day gifts for our wives, which is kind of a make-work project in disguise, but we're not going to go there. Alright, this is going to be fun. Alright, let's get started. So before we start cutting, I'm just going to show you what we'll be using. Now this here is an 8-foot long cedar plank, usually used for decking. It's 5.5 inches wide, 8 foot long, 1 inch thick. So we are going to be using 4 of these to make up the height of the planter's bed. Alright, the raised bed. So 5.5 inches times 4 is a total of 22 inches in height. So we're going to build a 2x4 framed wall, including a header, a footer, and a stud, for a total height of 22 inches. So that's going to leave us with a header that's 1.5 inches thick, a footer that's 1.5 inches thick, which is a total of 3 inches. Take that off of the desired 22, which leaves us with 19-inch studs. Okay. Now, as far as the studs go, I've been trying to decide exactly how many I want in the length of the 8-foot wall. And what I'm thinking is probably a total of 2 support studs and then the 2 end studs. And that should give us a nice, at least every 2 feet, I guess, we'll have a stud, maybe more. 2, 4, 6. So that would be 3 studs in the middle if it went every 2 feet. So I think that would be good. Maybe that'll be, I think that'll be optimal. Every 2 feet we'll have a stud. And I think that'll give us plenty of support. And when it comes down to the end walls, we'll have 1 stud in the middle, right? Because there'll be 4-foot walls. So if we do a stud every 2 feet down there, it'll be stud, 2 feet, a stud, 2 feet, end stud. And so I think that should give us a general idea now of the cuts that we're going to make. I'm going to verify these 8-foot lengths here and make sure they are on par, definitely on 8 foot. I measured one in Home Depot and it was a little bit beyond 8 feet. Me being a little bit particular, I want it exactly 8 feet in length. Alright, so once we get all the walls done, we're going to join them with 4x4s in the corner for support, and we'll be pretty much done at that point. So let's begin by cutting our planks. Alright, so we'll do 8-foot lengths. We got 2 8-foot walls at 4 in height, so 8 and 8 is 16. So we need 16 full 8-foot lengths. Then we got the 2 end walls, which is going to be 8 4-foot lengths. Okay, and so that'll be 4 more boards cut in half. Actually, no, it's not 16. Did I say 16? 8 of these. Okay, it's 2 walls, 4 apiece. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so we'll make sure 8 of these are 8 foot long, and then the 2 end walls, we'll make sure we got 8 pieces at 4 foot long. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Let's just let's get cutting. At least we ran through and nailed those, weeded out those problems. All right, let's get to the miter saw. So as we said, this came up about 1/4 inch too long, beyond 8 feet. So I am still going to take that 1/4 inch off. There you go. That's all we took off. That might even be closer to 1/8 than a 1/4. But I want my 8 feet right on the nose. So what do you guys think? Am I giving you enough angles of these cuts to make it interesting? Give me a little thumbs up if you think that I'm covering all the angles here, you know what I mean? So that's eight 8-foot lengths now of the planking done. So now I'm going to get 8 4-foot lengths for the two end walls. So there we have 8 8-foot long boards and 8 4-foot long boards. So that's going to be the two sides, 4 boards high on each side, and then the two ends as well with the 4 foots. And those will also be 4 boards high for a total of 22 inches in height. So next on our list is going to be the 2x4s. So we're going to be framing out the 2x4s. So we're going to also have to cut some 8-foot lengths. In particular, we need 4 8-foot lengths, so that's the header and footer for 2 walls. And we need 4 4-foot lengths, which would be the header and footer of the 2 end walls. So that just means what? More cutting on the miter saw. So let's resume with the 2x4s. So guys and girls, I don't know exactly what it is about this cedar. I guess it's just the natural smell of it, you know, the same way as you would burn birch and it smells really nice. This cedar has such a nice aroma coming out of it. Like it's really worth your while if you happen to go to a Lowe's or a Home Depot. Just stop by the lumber section in the cedar. Either go to the 2x4s or the planks, whatever. And just stick your nose in there and just have a sniff and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like such a different smell, but it's so nice. It's kind of like this really, really nice smell that you kind of want to, you'd almost want an air freshener that smelled like it. So same thing as with the planks. These 2x4s are about a 1/4 inch beyond 8 feet. I'm not sure what the rationale is between all these different measurements in carpentry and lumber work. You know, like if you got a 2x4, you would think it's 2 inches by 4 inches, but it's 1.5 inches by 3.5. None of it makes any sense. So you got an 8-foot as advertised, which is 8.25 feet. I don't know, makes no sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to somebody who studied it and was taught, and I'd say they were just brainwashed myself. You know, you can't just make up a number and say it's not a number. You know, like 2 + 2 = 4. I'm sorry, like at the end of the day, 2 and 2 is 4. The number 3 is still the number 3. It's not 2.5. I don't know. I don't get it. If anyone wants to write me a novel in the comments section, you go right ahead and you explain to me why these measurements are like they are. That finishes up our cut list. Okay, so we got 8 foot lengths of the 1x6. We got 8 4-foot lengths of the 1x6. We got 4 8-foot lengths of the 2x4. And we got 4 4-foot lengths of the 2x4. So like I said, that pretty much completes our cut list for now. So we're going to move on to assembly. I still got one other thing I need to cut are the 4x4 corners, but I haven't yet decided exactly how high I want those to be. So as far as assembling the side walls though, we have what we need right here. So I'm going to get the side walls assembled, and then I'll make the decision on how tall I want the corner posts to be. Now with that said, more than likely they are going to be exactly 22 inches tall. That's my current plan. But I just want to make sure that doesn't change by the time I get to the end. So that's what I'm going to rely on 22 inches for the corners. But just in case something comes in my head to do it a bit differently, I'll reserve that until the assembly point at the end. Alright, so with that said, I'm pretty much going to have to assemble on the floor. So I'll try to get you guys a good top-down view of the assembly. It's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to be putting studs at the 2, 4, and 6 foot areas. Wow. Speaking of studs, I haven't cut them yet. Wow, talk about getting ahead of yourself. So, see, it's a good thing I ramble at the camera sometimes because it reminds me of things I need to do. And studs is kind of an important thing. So let's think about what we need. We need 1 for each end, and we need 3 for each side. So we need a total of 8 studs, and they need to be 19 inches in length. To be fair, you guys have seen me do enough mitering. I'm going to do that much off camera and spare you guys that. And I'm kind of running out of camera angles to shoot it from. Unless I start putting hooks in the ceiling and stringing strings and hanging the camera and doing zip lines with it and stuff, that'd be pretty cool. But I can't do that. Especially not with this camera that I got. This ain't no trapeze artist camera, okay? This is just a little family camcorder. Just so you know, this ain't no fancy thing. Although I'm sure you probably figured that out by now by the picture quality and lighting and all that. But that's a story for another day. Either way, darn, I gotta make studs. 19-inch studs, and what did we say? 8 of them? Alright, I'll do that off camera and we'll be right back. With everything now cut, we're finally ready for assembly. So to start, I think I'm going to begin with the smaller walls. I'm going to begin with the 4-foot walls, and they'll be relatively easy. The most work that's going to be is just getting the glue on and screwing them in place. So I'll try to get a good picture of the floor here. This is where I'm going to be assembling them, and they should go together relatively quick. Now that we have our first frame finished, let's dry fit the planks onto this to make sure our 22 inches was correct, which within all reasons of logic it should be correct, but we'll do a dry fit just to make sure. So other than squaring everything up a little bit more, that seems to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put on these planks and have that much done. This end wall will be complete. This is our first end wall completed. Turned out well. No real issues. Now with that said, there is something I realized in the process. And that is, I did not buy enough 2x4s. Remember when I worked it out and I made the 8 19-inch studs, I never took into account the end studs on each wall. So 4 walls equals 8 more studs, so I actually needed 16. And I cut 8, and I only have enough cedar left to cut 2 more. So I'm short by 6. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to swap for some spruce. Unfortunately, one side is, or multiple pieces are going to have to be made of spruce. Now I could probably go back and switch that up after the fact, but I want this finished for Mother's Day tomorrow. I could get up early enough and go to Home Depot and get some more cedar. That would be one solution. But I wouldn't get this video out to you guys until after it's all done, which is fine. You know, getting this done as the gift is the priority. The video is for your entertainment afterwards. So that might be an option, is to build what I can with what I got tonight. And then first thing in the morning, get to Home Depot, get some more cedar 2x4s. So one other thing, and I noticed it in Justin Rhodes' video as well. And I thought that they had made a mistake, but I can tell now that they never. So that being, we're going to be mating this up with a 4x4 post. Okay, so it's going to be the same width as this one right here, this 2x4. Alright, so the 2x4 post is going to be here against that. And to prevent having this sticking out by an inch, right, because we got an inch of panel board here, of plank board. So when we mate all this together around the 4x4 post, there's going to be an inch of this plank wood that's going to be trying to press on the inch of the other plank wood. So we actually need to have a 1-inch space either on these end walls, which I'm not going to do, and I'll explain why in a minute. We need an inch space for the opposing wall to fit their plank wood in to the area. Now that's a little bit hard to describe, but imagine there's basically an inch on both walls trying to take up the same space is what it comes down to. So we need to eliminate that inch off of one of the walls to allow for this one to fit in that place. Now the reason I'm not going to take that inch off of the end walls is because we all have one support in the middle, and in order to take an inch off the end here, we're going to be awful close to making the end of all these panels be too short and come off of the 2x4 or split or anything along that lines. Whereas the side walls, we're going to have 3 supports down each side that they're going to be screwed onto, so there's going to be lots of places of support even if the 2 ends are somewhat weak. So it's going to be solid if we take that inch off of the side walls versus the end walls, and that's my reason for that. So we're going to continue on. Yeah, so the whole 2x4 situation is a little bit inconvenient. Whether or not I have to use one of the end wall, one of the side wall 8-foot posts to make some more supports for now, maybe. We might be able to get 3 walls done tonight that way, and then leave the 4th for tomorrow and then put it all together. So I'll ponder that in my head as we put together another end wall. Alright, so it never fails for my videos to have a good ramble in the middle, doesn't it? It's just, everything is so fluctuant in the way it goes. It's just one moment to the next. I try to plan ahead and it kind of goes a different direction, we'll say. Alright, so let's get another one of these end walls done and we'll go from there. there we go. There is wall number 2. So the next thing I'm going to do is I got to correct those side planks. Remember I was saying I need that 2-inch leeway, so I'm going to have to take a 1-inch leeway on either side. So I'm going to have to take 2 inches off of all 8 of those. I'm not going to bother you guys with that, I'll just do that off camera, it's not a big deal. I can whip those out pretty quick, it's just 2 inches at a time, right? So, but what I've decided is that we will continue on to 3 walls tonight. I should have enough there to do 3 walls tonight, and then I'll rework exactly what I need to buy tomorrow at Home Depot, and I'll go get those 2x4s that I need tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to do that without telling my wife why, or trying to explain to her why I need to go out in the shed at 9 o'clock in the morning. And tomorrow is Sunday, so I'm hoping that Home Depot is open tomorrow. It should be, I'm pretty sure it is. I'll find some 2x4 cedar somewhere. So yeah, so we're going to get 3 walls done tonight, and that'll be good. So with that said, I'm going to go take the 2 inches off of each of those side panels there now, and then we'll resume shortly in a couple of moments. All right. Let's now begin framing up one of the side walls. Now that we have our side wall together, we can actually go forward now and cut the 4x4 into corner posts. So I've decided I will go with 22 inches, and I will confirm that measurement once I find my measuring tape. So I'm going to confirm that with what I've done here. And we do have 22 inches. And on the side, 22 inches exactly. So far so good. So I'm going to take the 4x4 now and I'm going to cut it into 4 22-inch corner legs. So now I'm going to cut off my 4 22-inch corner posts. At this point in time now, we're ready to assemble 3 of the 4 walls. So from what I've gathered and figured out along the way, I think what I missed was pretty much 2 2x4s is what I need to get tomorrow. That's going to be enough for the top plate, and I need to make 1 more support piece. So I only missed it by 2 pieces, and really it's 1 piece plus a 19-inch piece, so very close to only being 1 piece of 2x4 away. So I should have grabbed that extra 2 safety pieces while I was there. But such is life. You know, if I was desperate enough right now, if I was down and I actually had a full piece and I was only missing 1 support piece, I'd take my leftover 4x4, put it on the table side, and I'd make my own 2x4 out of it. But unfortunately, I'm not close enough to be able to finish by doing that. So it's just as well to go back tomorrow morning and get another couple of pieces of 2x4 and resume and finish the 3rd wall from there. But what I can do tonight, I can do a few support pieces and start framing out what I have. At least I'll be that much further ahead. But for now, I'm going to put together the 3 walls that I have completed. Doing a half frame wall is not going to really benefit me right now. I can do that off camera or just do it tomorrow morning once I get the other 2x4. One or the other. Maybe I'll add it on to the video now tonight while I'm out here. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm going to do the corners and put these 3 walls together. So I'll try to find a nice spot here on the floor and get you guys to be able to watch that happen. I realize this video is probably a lot of background music while I put in the screws and do the cuts and all that. But when it comes down to it, really, once you got your cut list and your measurements, there's not a whole lot else to do other than cut and put it together. So there wasn't a whole lot to say this episode. Plus, besides that, I'm kind of trying to do it a bit more quickly than our normal episodes in the interest of having this done for tomorrow, even though it's not going to be done for tomorrow now. But I do have some more planned for this tonight. We're not going to be done once I put this 3 walls together. They are going together to figure out something else. And we'll get to that very shortly. Alright, I think that's enough said. We'll get to putting this together and see what we come up with. Hopefully the 1 inch off both sides plays out correctly. It should, but you know what happens here in this shed. The unexpected becomes the expected. Alright, see you soon. So I'm just going to point this out right now. This is a really big planter. This is a very big raised bed. Alright, this is 4x8 is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. But that's good. This is a workable size. I think my wife or someone's just going to have to help me carry it is the problem. Because this is going to be heavy. Alright, let's get back to doing the corners. So my very top board right here is a little bit long and it's causing this not to go flush. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go get my plane and we'll take that down a bit. I'm not sure if you guys and gals can grasp the size of this. Maybe you can, maybe you built your own. But wow, this thing's huge. Like, I can't even fit it all on the camera on one screen. I gotta like choose what side I show. So we're pretty far along. I'm gonna put the other two corner posts on, and then we'll have a look at the top area and see what we're gonna do with that. So we'll continue on. I'll get the corner posts on, and then we'll have a chat one more time. If you can't tell by the sun shining in on my right side here and a different colored t-shirt, today is a new day. It's Mother's Day. So again, happy Mother's Day to those mothers out there. So last night I ran out of camera memory. By the time I went in the house, it was, after midnight. Copied the memory card over to the computer, which took 20 minutes or so. By that point in time, it had gotten too late. The time benefit ratio had worn down to the point where it was just as well to go to bed so that I could get up early and get to Home Depot and get the supplies we needed to finish my wife's raised bed. So I got up this morning. I was there standing in line 15 minutes before open. The wind blowing a gale, definitely in the negatives of temperature wise with the wind chill. So I paid my dues for not getting that other 2x4 yesterday. So I got 2 pieces of 2x4 and I got one more of the 1x6 planks. And the reason is I figured out for what I'm going to do with the top of the box, I needed one more plank to fill that out properly. So I got that as well. So we should be fine now on materials. So we're going to keep pushing forward. Like I say, it is Mother's Day. So far I've managed to keep my wife in the dark over this. She figures I'm out here finishing up a video on the chicken coop build right now. So a little white lie. Hopefully it'll end up in more satisfaction than not when the reveal happens. We won't be revealing on camera, by the way, just in case you're waiting for that. I'm sorry, that's not going to be on camera. I'm not at that point yet with my videos where I'm willing to put all my personal life on YouTube, but it should definitely be a nice reveal once I get this done. So I got all my pieces cut. The 2x4 that I bought this morning, I cut another 19-inch support piece, so that's done. And I took the longer of the pieces and cut off that 1/4 inch at the end to make that 8-foot even for the sides. So at this point in time, I'm ready for assembly. So I'm going to get to that, and then we'll get that wall up, and then we'll tackle the top rim finishings that I'm going to put on there. Okay, so this will be the second sidewall assembly. here it is. This is the main raised bed structure. Put together, complete. So the only thing I'm going to do now is just a little bit of aesthetics. And that's just putting, I'll show you now, I'll get one of these planks. So what I'm going to do is just put this down the length, flush with the inside. And that's just going to give me a nice little lip here on the front and all the way around the sides, okay? So I'm not going to do the corners. You know, some people do like two 45-degree angles coming together. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do flat on the sides and flat on the ends. And I think that gives it a bit more strength. I find those 45-degree bevel joins that unless you're really getting into you know, putting in the discs and melding them together properly, it just ends up with a spot that can break off easily, those little triangle pieces. So for that reason, I decided I'm just going to do straight across and straight down the sides. So I'll get you guys set up and I'll do that nice and quick. And I'll make any cuts that I need to make. I'll make those over on the miter saw off camera, because this is just a quick screw them on and we're done. All right. So I just wanted to point out one thing that I overlooked here, and that is, in order to get the end piece flush with the inside of the box like I'm doing with the sides, I should have taken another 2 inches off of these side runners. But I got them screwed in place now, so I'm thinking that probably the easiest thing to do would be to take the skill saw and just take an inch off each side. I think that'll be the quickest way. I'll probably take these screws out because they're a little bit close to the sawing point, and I'll put them back in once I got the piece taken out. But I'm going to go set up the skill saw, draw my lines here, and I'll take an inch off each side. Then our side runners should go nice and flush with the side of the box, and we should be okay again. With that little setback taken care of, our next thing is to find out how long our end board needs to be. And it's going to be 57 1/8 for this end. I'll just go check the other. The other is more 57 1/4. So I'll probably split the difference on both, have them the same, and I'll make those cuts and we'll be right back. Now that we have our cuts completed, we'll get these put in place and screw them down. One more to go. Complete. Let's see if I can get you guys a better view. Oh hey! Hey, yeah, I was just down below there. Yeah, it's pretty big, pretty deep in here. I can't really get out, it's too deep. It's too big. So yeah. Happy Mother's Day! Yep. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, Mother's Day special. I hope my wife likes her new raised bed. If not, it's probably going to be my coffin. Anyways, I hope you're happy. Hope you're healthy. Take care of each other. And peace out.